Welcome to my channel Shadows of History. How did the marketing of deodorant in the early 1900s convince people they had a problem they didn't know existed? In 1919, an advertisement appeared in the Ladies' Home Journal that was considered so revolting and insulting that hundreds of women canceled their magazine subscriptions on the spot. The advertisement didn't feature violence, nudity, or profanity. It simply featured a picture of a woman and her beau gazing at the moon, accompanied by a headline that discussed a bodily function that polite society pretended didn't exist: perspiration. Before this moment, body odor was not viewed as a social crime. It was viewed as an unavoidable fact of life. In the Victorian era and the early Edwardian years, sweating was considered a healthy way to expel toxins. If you smelled, you used perfume or cologne to mask it, or you wore dress shields, cotton pads, under your clothes to soak up the moisture. The idea of chemically blocking sweat glands was viewed by many doctors as dangerous. The product at the center of this revolution was Odor No More, an antiperspirant developed by a high school student named Edna Murphy. Murphy struggled to sell the product for years. It was a liquid solution of aluminum chloride that was ruby red and suspended in acid. It was difficult to apply, took a long time to dry, and if you weren't careful, the acid would eat through your clothing or irritate your skin. But it did stop sweat. The pivot happened when Murphy hired a copywriter named James Young. Young realized that the problem wasn't the product's functionality. The problem was that women didn't believe they needed it. Most women believed that because they bathed regularly, they didn't smell. Young decided to attack that belief by weaponizing social insecurity. He didn't market the product as a medical remedy. He marketed it as insurance against social ostracization. His strategy relied on three psychological levers. The unconscious offender. Young's copy suggested that you could scrub and bathe, but your armpits would betray you later in the day. You wouldn't know you smelled, but everyone else would. The nice trap. The ads insinuated that your friends and suitors were too polite to tell you that you stank. They would simply whisper about you behind your back and gradually stop inviting you to parties. The refined target. Previous ads had targeted those with excessive sweating, a medical condition. Young targeted the average classy woman, implying that even the most elegant lady was susceptible to this social death. The controversial 1919 ad, titled "Within the Curve of a Woman's Arm," was the tipping point. It read, "A woman's arm. Poets have sung of it. Great artists have painted it. It should be the daintiest, sweetest thing in the world. And yet, unfortunately, it isn't always." By focusing on the armpit, a body part never mentioned in polite company, and suggesting that a woman's romantic failure was due to a smell she couldn't detect, the campaign struck a nerve. The backlash was severe, but the sales figures were undeniable. Odor No sales rose 112% in a single year. The marketing worked because it shifted the narrative from hygiene, cleanliness, to etiquette, courtesy. It created a problem, unconscious body odor, that could only be solved by buying the product. Interestingly, men were largely exempt from this anxiety for another 2 decades. It wasn't until the Great Depression that advertisers began targeting men, using a different fear: financial failure. Ads in the 1930s claimed that men were losing jobs and missing out on promotions because of their smell. Today, the global deodorant and antiperspirant market is worth over $75 billion. It is a massive industry built entirely on a social norm invented by a copywriter who convinced the world that sweating was not just a biological function, but a moral failing.